Hey everyone, it's Heather with Tropica Exotica, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about feeling energy. So I'm really excited about this video because one of the things that I really want to do with my channel is to try to help people find information and put information out there so that's easily accessible, because one of the frustrating things for me was when I started to wake up, I started to have these experiences, but I had a really hard time understanding what the meaning is. So in this video, I've kind of compiled all the different types of experiences that I've had related to feeling energy, and then my understanding of what that meaning is. So when I first started to wake up, my Kundalini was activated, and a lot of things happened as a result of that. And one of the things that happened is this, because my Kundalini activation was because I was connected to my twin flame, and he activated it through eye contact. And I knew that something had happened related to him. So when I started having some of these experiences, I did not know if it was tied to him or what it was. So it was just very confusing. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and start with energetic rushes through my body. So this actually happened before my Kundalini activation and my spiritual awakening happened in earnest. So I had a dog that had died, and he was 14 years old, and this happened in December of 2013. And one of the things that would happen was, in dealing with that grief, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I would, remember, like, oh my gosh, my dog died, and, these emotions would just come flooding up. And I remember feeling these energetic sensations go through my body, like from head to toe, and it was just this kind of warm, comforting, loving feeling. That's the best way I can describe it, but it was like this warm rush of energy that would go through my entire body. And that happened several times. And at the time, I just thought that was my dog Bailey trying to communicate to me that he was okay. And so it actually wasn't until really maybe a couple years ago that I was watching a video, and Psychic Bob, somebody had asked Psychic Bob a question about this, and he had said that when you're going through a difficult time such as grief, that your spirit guides will temporarily just kind of give you a surge of energy to try to raise your vibration. So I was really excited about that, and actually finding somebody who could tell me what that experience was. But one of the things that I think is really cool is, they're helping us. When we're going through difficult times, they are out there and they are assisting us. So if you are having a hard time and you feel these energetic rushes, just know that that's your spirit guides trying to raise your vibration. So I thought that was really exciting. So another thing that I started to experience were these little patches of round, like goosebumps, and they've also been called truth bumps. And so that was actually one of the first things that started to happen to me, was I felt like somebody was touching my forearm, and it would really freak me out. And, again, as I mentioned, because my Kundalini activation was related to my twin flame, I was really confused, like, is he touching me? I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And so this is one of those things where I had actually asked a psychic during one of her readings, what exactly does this mean? And I've also come across other information that basically when your spirit guides are trying to communicate with you, I think they temporarily lower their frequency in order to match your frequency, so that they can, get in contact with you. And I've also noticed that I've had this experience when I'm journaling, or when I'm trying to, mentally process something, going, is this true or is that not true? And I might just feel like a little touch. And to me, that's validation from my spirit guides that yes, whatever you're thinking is true. And so that's another reason why you might hear them called truth bumps. Another sensation that I felt is basically feeling light, like I don't have a body. So this is one of those things that this has happened recently, and I believe it's an ascension symptom. So when these incoming energy waves come in, I believe that, you know, as our body processes them, we may feel the sensation of having a physically less dense body. And so, you know, for me, when it's happened, I'm lying on my bed, and all of a sudden it's just like this really weird sensation like I don't have a body, even though I'm laying down on the bed. But it's a really crazy thing to experience, and I've had that happen several times. And again, I think it's just, you know, as our body processes these incoming energy waves, that's just the physical sensation that we're going to be feeling. So our next topic is energetic dust bunnies. So I know I came across this term during, you know, some reading or something, not a reading, but I was reading an article. And that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like this little ball of energy just kind of like rolling down your arm. And from what I understand, I think that that is somebody else's energy. And I think that they, you know, either they're thinking a lot about you, or somehow, you know, maybe they're relying on you a little too much, but their energy may just like stick to you. And so that's one of the reasons why I really advocate about, you know, doing energy clearing like on a daily basis, just to make sure that you're only dealing with your energy, you're not dealing with other people's energy. And if you're interested in energy clearing, I have a video out called Energy Clearing, so you can go check that out if you want to learn more about that. And then another thing that I've experienced is a physical touch, a hand on my arm. So this is also one that I had consulted with a psychic because, you know, I've said before, when you start to awaken and you have these different experiences, you know, it's not like there's a manual out there explaining exactly what your particular situation is. So a lot of times what I would do is save up some of these different experiences and then consult with a psychic that I trusted and get their feedback. So during my spiritual awakening early on, I had a lot of out-of-body experiences. And in one of them, I remember I was coming back to my body, and I did this funny little circle around my body, and then I was going to slide back in my body. And as I was doing that, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sliding down the edge of the bed, I'm going to run into my dog. You know, I'm just thinking this, you know, in my mind. And as that happened, I remember feeling these physical like fingers on my arm grabbing me. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, let me go, you're scaring me. But then as I got back into my body, I had that same energetic rush throughout my body of that warm, kind of comforting, loving feeling. And so I had asked the psychic, you know, what was that? And they basically said that when you are out of your body, when you're trying to come back into your body, it can be a difficult process. And so a lot of times your spirit guides will help guide you back into your body. And so that was what those like fingers I was feeling were, them kind of touching me, putting me back in my body. And then that energetic rush was them communicating to me that it's okay, it's them, you know, to trust that. But of course, you know, when you're having these experiences, you don't know what's happening. So that was one particular experience. So if you're having a hard time getting back into your body during an out-of-body experience, you may experience somebody kind of helping you get back in your body. Another sensation I've had are kind of tinglings in my face. So I just did a video on my top 5 crystal experiences, and I talked about the sentient plasma crystal. So when I work with this crystal, lately what I've noticed is I'll start feeling these tingling sensations in my face. And so there's not a lot of information out about that crystal. I know it's moving energy. A lot of times when you meditate, you might feel a tingling on your forehead where your third eye is, and I believe that's just your third eye being activated. And so, you know, when you start kind of feeling these tingling sensations, I believe that that's just energy moving, being activated. So the next example is an energetic rush that's in the shape of a human. Okay, so in the first experience I talked about this energetic rush that goes through your body. This one is one that comes externally and goes into your body. And it's actually in the shape of a human. So these energies that are in the shape of a human, they're external and they come at you from the outside and kind of go in through your body. And they're kind of in the shape of a human, and sometimes it'll feel like they're giving you a hug. And I believe that these energetic rushes are from other people that you're interacting with. And I'm not really sure if it's their higher self or some other aspect of their energy that's interacting with them. But I think that, you know, that our energy kind of has a will of its own. So even if somebody in their 3D life is ignoring you, I think that their energy can, you know, come to you and interact with you on that level. And I believe that these happen when we have stronger connections to people. It may be that, you know, maybe in former lives we had relationships with them. So I've had that with a few different people, and I've had that experience actually recently. So it's still something that's kind of curious to me, and I'll be interested if any other people have that experience and what their thoughts are on that. Okay, the next topic is psychic courting. So psychic courting is basically when we have interconnections to other people through our chakras. And this is just formed through bonds, the emotional bonds and ties that we have with other people. They're not all bad, but sometimes what can happen is somebody can court to you and it can be this kind of unbalanced energetic connection to where they can actually kind of drain your energy. And so one of the experiences that I had with this, where I actually felt somebody cord to me, and one thing that I have noticed is there are some people that are psychic and they don't really know it, and they're powerful, and so, you know, sometimes people go around doing stuff and I don't think they're necessarily meaning to, but they don't realize what they're doing. So I don't think that they're necessarily doing it on purpose. But this one person looked at me very directly and intently, and then the next thing I know, I feel like this little pull, like a physical pull in my sacral chakra. And then I literally felt drained. I mean, I was like this. And, you know, that was pretty profound. And at the time, I was kind of confused. I thought, you know, oh, well, this must be an intense connection. Maybe we had a past life together, you know. And so later I realized, no, that was somebody psychically courting to you, and they were draining your energy, and you don't have good energy boundaries, and so you need to work on that. So it was very much a learning experience for me. And that's also one of the things that I recommend that you do on a daily basis, is just do, you know, some psychic cord cutting, just to make sure that you're operating in your own energy. And again, that's in my video on energy clearing if you want to look up that. And also, when it comes to psychic courting, sometimes you might find that you can't get somebody off your mind. And I also believe that that can be psychic courting, so I would also try to work on clearing your energy if you find that to be that case as well. Okay, so scratch on the face or touching, or any kind of scratches. So normally I'll only talk about what I've experienced, but I'm also going to talk about some other things in this little section. So for me, at one point, this was not too long ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt a scratch on my face. And of course I woke up, and my dog does sleep in the bed with me, but he did not scratch me. And so I wake up and I turn on the light and I'm a little freaked out. I honestly don't really know what that was. I don't know if it was a ghost. But one of the things that I do when I sleep is I always keep a large piece of selenite by my bed, in my nightstand. I had watched a video by Teal Swan, and she said that she always kept a huge piece of selenite by her nightstand, on her nightstand. And so I had adopted that practice just to keep the energy clear, make sure there's, you know, nothing bothering you when you're trying to sleep. But that particular night, I'd actually moved that selenite crystal somewhere else. And so I kind of was curious, like, I wonder if because I moved that selenite, then I, you know, let other beings around me when I was trying to sleep. So I'm not really sure, but I think that could have been a ghost. I have a portal in my guest bedroom closet. And so I think entities and ghosts kind of come in and out, but I try to keep my house energy pretty clear. So one of the things that I've had family members tell me about is they've had somebody actually touch them and probably talk to them. I think those are ghosts. I think that if a ghost gets enough energy that they can physically touch you. And again, I would just try to do energy clearing so that you don't have that happen to you. So another thing that I've experienced is electrical currents. So this one is kind of an odd one. But one of the things that I have done during my spiritual awakening process is look into different practices and teachers. And one of the teachers that I came across was Cassidy Kane. And she has the website twinflames 1111. And she has a lot of energy clearing tools. I think that she is one of these people that is actually very gifted, and I honestly don't know how it works, but she has audio tapes and she also has things that you can read. And so I've used some of her tools, I purchased them, and I think that they really do work. And one of the audios I had bought, I was listening to, and I could feel these electrical currents start from the top of my back all the way down on either side of my spine as I was listening to this this audio. And I think it's energy clearing, it's energy activating, so it's just something that you might experience if you start to use some of these tools. And then another one is warming sensations. So this was another experience I had working with Cassidy Kane. I was doing her audio on chakra clearing, and as the audio was going up the chakras, as it came to my heart chakra, I felt this really warming sensation, kind of like a cool burning. And in the audio, she actually asked, "Did you feel that?" So, you know, I mean, obviously this is clearing out energy, and so even if you're not in a twin flame connection or in a twin flame situation, I think that energy clearing tools are really great because they really help you lift your vibration and make sure everything's operating the way it should. So the next three energy topics I'm going to talk about are all related to Kundalini activation. And so the first one is called champagne bubbles in sacral chakra. So as I mentioned earlier, when my Kundalini activation happened, it was through making eye contact with my twin flame. But it took a few days for that to actually unwind. And so in the days before it unwound, I was having these really weird, like, bubbling sensations in my sacral chakra. And I ended up reading an article where they called it champagne bubbles, and that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like this really weird, like, little bubbling sensation. And so that happened for a few days, and then afterwards the Kundalini energy unwound. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I have a video on Kundalini activation, so you can look that one up. The next one is Kundalini whip-like energy. I feel like there's a name for this, but I don't really know. But one of the things that can happen after your Kundalini is activated is that you can have these uncontrollable body movements. So one of the things that would happen for me is that I would be laying on bed, and all of a sudden my entire body would just jerk violently and lift off the bed. And I mean, it felt like, you know, like a cattle prod or something. I mean, it's like you absolutely had no control over it. It was very violent, very quick. And, you know, I'm glad I was at home when that happened. But I've noticed that that happened when I feel like there were these really intense energy waves coming in. I haven't had that experience lately, but I have had other people, or I've read about other people will have like uncontrollable hand movements. So the Kundalini energy affects people differently, but that was one of the things that I experienced, and it was kind of odd to experience that one. Another one is hyper energy. So if you've had your Kundalini activated, one of the things that can happen is you can have these complete like surges of energy where you have all this energy and you don't know what to do with it. And it's, you know, very unregulated, and again, it's not like when this happens you have an instruction manual on what to do. And so one of the things that I would do is I would literally just dance around my house for 3 hours straight. And I know that the next day I would end up being completely exhausted and tired. And so I don't think that that's a good idea to do that, what I did. But what I would try to do, if I could do it over again, is maybe walk and jog and just kind of get the energy more regulated. But going, you know, dealing with these bursts of energy, I think, you know, you just feel like you have to get it out. And so that's one thing that you may experience, is all of a sudden you have like this tremendous amount of energy you don't know what to do with. So those are a few examples. Again, I just wanted to try to categorize information about, you know, the different things that you may experience kind of related to energy sensations, things you might feel, things that you might experience. And I know it can be very confusing, so anyway, I just wanted to provide that for today. And I also want to thank my new subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in these topics. So thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye. See you next time.